Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Noodle board from CZT, Lisa, and Douglas. Oh my gosh, did we ever have so much fun with this on our Tough Tangle Tuesday. Oh, it's really neat. Okay, so this is a grid pattern. Basically, it's just a 4-square grid. And one of the things that I decided to do, and if you say, I want to mention it right up front, in the description section of the video, and usually it's like below the video, see the title. If you don't know where it is, every once in a while I get a question, where do I find that? And it depends on how you're accessing YouTube. But usually by the title, they'll give you one line in the description and then something that signifies where you can read on. Sometimes it's just a little down arrow, not even an arrow, it's like a V, or just something that signifies click here to get more. So there you will find links to the step outs. I always do my own version and then link to the creator of the Tangle. That I call the For More Inspiration link. Below that, just by the way, is my link tree. So if you'd like to connect, if you enjoy what I do, I will mention it at the end as well. So it has all of my links, social media for classes and shopping stuff and for everything. So do check that out. All right. Now, one of the things that I like to do is if I am needing clarification on just as I'm trying to work out a tangle, sometimes what I'll do is I will separate bits out just because it seems to help me. And, from comments and stuff, it seems like it helps others. All right, what I'm going to do, in the spirit of working to keep this a quickie, to explain as quickly as possible. All right, so I have my grid. And what I decided to do on my version of the step outs is to get us to the point. I'm feeling like I need to rearrange it, but I wanted to be able to see clearer the first few steps. So here, let me just take us through where I have it bigger, and you'll see it there. So we start off with a dot in the middle-ish of each box. And then from here, we're going to essentially make a giant Y. So also, just to mention, I'm always going to be working, well, okay, we'll call it 95% of the time, on the upper left box, okay? Because it's essentially a fragment, and we're just turning it. This one, you turn it this certain way, and you get the result. All right, so from here, the upper two corners, we're going to bring a line in to that dot, and then one from the dot straight down to the grid box line, making a Y. All right. Then in this left section, middle-ish, we're going to bring a line up until it hits that line of the Y, and pull your pen up. And then from here, we're going to bring this line over like so, okay? So I wanted to get this, I decided to call this, the fragment base. I don't know, it popped into my head. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Okay, I'm going to call it that because then we're building on that. So I wanted to get that kind of out of the way. So I have 4 step outs that are, the whole box is this, just to bring you to this point. And then what we'll do is we're going to replicate that in the other squares, turning the tile. So the next step that I have is we're going to put the Y's in. So here we have the Y going this way. And as I mentioned, we're always going to work in the upper left and do the same thing in the upper left. So here's our dot. And then well, that's not very center. If you you need to adjust your dot, feel free. There we go. Oh, it was pretty good. All right, so we're going to make our Y here. And I'm going to do the rest of the Y's. So again, turning it. And it's interesting that while this seems like you have to be so precise, you really don't. It is actually forgiving. And I'll try to explain how it's forgiving as we go. Dot, and we're going to add the last Y here. All right, then back to home base. And then we'll continue to turn. And so we're going to do these 2 lines in the other ones. So again, now here's something to pay attention to. So I said center. So here's about center, but notice it's like we're hollow bowing underneath this section. So this line that we made here, it's like we're hollow bowing it. So when I was doing my version of the step outs, and I wasn't paying attention to that at first, and I was just like, okay, middle-ish. And then as I'm doing it, I'm going, oh wait, look it. That's so cool. And it seemed like if I was focused on middle-ish, it was close enough. And so you don't necessarily have to focus on that and worry about, oh, is it lining up right? It'll be okay. All right, so we've gone all the way around on all 4 boxes doing the same thing. Okay. Next, and so in my version of the step outs, this is where I kind of just finished. This is the rest of the tangle. So we're all at this point. This is our base. Now, focusing in on the inside lines of the grid, we're going to take, and I'm just going right at the top here. And and this is where I kind of divert from always working in the upper left, because it's not always. That's what's at 95%. All right, so here we're let me just do the line, and then maybe I'll explain. So we're kind of mirroring. If I was to, let's see, let me put the pen there. From above that line, see, we have this angle was there. That was from the original Y. And so we're just adding the other side like that. Now, also notice, whoa, it lines up there. So you can look at it 2 ways. One, you can say, oh, I'm just going to mirror this. Or you could, kind of work it backwards, or just as you're doing it, keep this in your periphery. Two, there's enough of a distance where if it's a little off, it's just not going to matter. And then 2, when you're decorating this afterwards, it's not, it'll all be fine. That's where I say it is a very forgiving tangle. So we're going to do this again on all 4 sides. There we go. Now, this line that we have just, that we stopped at, this first one right here, and we're coming back, but I do need to move it because I like to, oh, no, I don't have to move it that much. What we're going to do is this first line, like I mentioned, that we came to, we're going to essentially aura this side of the Y. Let me just do it like that. Okay, so, well, actually, maybe it's easier if I say 2. These next 2 lines here that have, they're just off into nowhere, right? There's nothing attaching it to anything. Those are our next 2 steps. So the top one, we're essentially auraing that side of the Y like that. Okay, so, and then now here again, we're on, working on that upper left box. All right. I got all 4. Yes, I did. Okay. And now this is the only not attached to anything line. And we're still working in that same side, but I'm going to use the takeoff and land concept and just trace over a little bit here, because all we're doing is we're bringing that line straight over. So when you come to the next line, just pick up your pen. And like that. Like that. I got them all? Yes. Yeah. And there we go. Easy as pie. Oh, now, shading ideas. Well, 2 things. Number 1, look at all of those individual spaces. This is like a string. And you could fill in all of those spaces however you wish to fill them in. And I would do that before shading. And then, tangles or filling it. Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you. Thank you. You didn't know you were doing that, but I'm thinking I was debating on what I wanted to do for us here, and I think it would look neat to fill something in, and I think I'm going to fill in. I think I'm going to fill in this because it will disguise this line here. And I like to, yeah, okay, that's just what I'm going to do. Although, no, I'm going to do that. Now, here, as I'm filling this in, let me just tell you. So, if you've watched any number of my videos, I do like to stay as pure as I can to the concepts presented by Zentangle, the method, everything. And I'm just a rather stubborn person when it comes to stuff like that. And so we had this discussion on our Tough Tangle Tuesday because Mom had noticed that these grid lines didn't seem to be apparent in Lisa's sample. So she's like, well, that looks like, the only way to do that is if you pencil in your grid and then erase it later. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you want to, you can do that. Of course you can. So I'm just letting you know. So as you're looking at those, it's completely up to you. I just kind of like to stick to, if there's a grid there, then it's a grid. And then I do the grid and then work to disguise the lines or have the lines play in with stuff. And it's just a fun game that I like to play. All right. But I wanted to share that. Okay. Oh, this seems like it might be dying. I do use it a lot. And I think it's kind of neat to just, to have one filled in. And then, there's so many other things that you can do with the rest. And I will show you, well, you'll see the samples on the step outs, but I'll show you what I accomplished in our Tough Tangle Tuesday time. And then something else to think about as you're deciding how you might want to decorate. The fill in is a great course corrector, right? So if there's something that you're like, oh, I didn't like the way that line turned out, then it's one of those where when it's all done, I would keep going, and then when it's all done, then decide, well, what's the best way to make you happy with whatever it is and however things happened, and maybe filling in works because when you fill in. So for instance, if I need to, if I wanted to make this a little bit wider or just make it a little straighter, I can just very carefully add a little to the outside, straighten it up, make it wider, fix whatever, as long as it's going wider or bigger, then you could do it. The other direction, no. So I like it. And I'm thinking too, now, let's use the graphite. Well, okay, two things. So I'm going to do some shading here. Just to the, to the inside. And after that, I'm like going, and what was I thinking about the other side? I don't remember. That's bad. Okay, let's use a new Tortillion. Ooh, that's neat. And I think I'm pretty sure what I was thinking was to do, I think just the outside. And maybe the whole outside, which you'd kind of have to, all of that. I'm almost thinking, gosh, oh, whoops. It might be fun to do something to create dimension with, the way, those corners are. Because it really looks like the seam of a frame when they're, jointed together. But let's just see this here first. Oh, let's just go outside of that too. And maybe just doing this will do what I'm thinking in my head. That I'm not sure. What am I thinking in my head? I don't. Sometimes just let the play take over. It's a fun experiment. I keep working at that. Just let the fun take over and try to, and just go with the flow. Yeah. Like that. And see, and now I'm almost seeing where this could, you know what? It would probably look better, more like an edge if I went and put this on the complete, on the outside. All right, so. Like I feel like yeah, like this is like it's standing, like this is standing up like a wall, and we're looking down. And as long as I keep this on, yes, on the outside. Ooh, I like it. Shading is so much fun. Alrighty. Yeah. Like that. Neat. All right, and I'm just going to use what's left on the tortillon and just have a little bit here on the over under. Not too much because I don't want to have the graphite remorse because I'm feeling like it could. But that, yeah, that just that little bit seems to help. All right. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this. And if you have, please click like on the video. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. My brain is just enveloped. Okay. Yeah. I like it. It's just so neat. And I mentioned the description section. You'll find the links to the step outs, links to connect with me in my link tree and other stuff. And let me show you what I did on our Tough Tangle Tuesday session. So this is a 6x6 piece of paper that I cut. It's some, what was it, Strathmore, I think. It's like a 6x8 pad. And so now I was like, oh, but I can make some bijoux out of that. That's, it's absolutely perfect. All right. I was envisioning doing this on something bigger just because I was seeing it bigger. And it worked out pretty neat. Like it's not completely finished, but we had a lot of fun with it. And then in our PM session, this is what I decided to do. Similar idea, but just kind of going the snowflake route. I was first thinking Delft, and then that led to snowflakes, and because it's winter. So anyway, if you would like to come and have this kind of fun with us, as I mentioned it on pretty much all of the videos, that the free classes that I offer. The one is on Thursdays and it's called Tangle Time. The other is it's just once a month, Tough Tangle Tuesday, on the third Tuesday of the month. And this is the kind of stuff that we do. We tackle ones that are harder, in a number of ways. It could just be that it's eyeball confusing, takes a lot of focus, or that it is just plain just hard. And so we try to tackle those, and and however you want to play with it is however you want to play with it. And just to have fun and explore it that's the only expectations. And yeah, so we have a lot of fun. So would love to have you come and join us sometime. Information is on my link tree. There's a couple places there, and that's in the description section again. There's a couple places that I have listed there where you could follow me for classes. And what else? and I hope you will. And if nothing else, come join us on Thursdays for regular Tangle time, because I reserve the tougher ones for this. Every once in a while, one gets away from me, and it's maybe not as it really would fit into Tough Tangle Tuesday more than regular Tangle time, but that's just once in a great while. But we have a lot of fun either way, and that's what matters. So let's see. Also, I want to highlight there, if you happen to be on Facebook, we have a Tangle Addicts community group. Would love to have you come be a part of it. Share. It's just so fun. Sharing work and commenting and just celebrating each other's wins. It's a really nice group. We have a number of people from different skill levels. I also like to say different abilities and different disabilities. And, whatever your win is, we are right there to celebrate with you. We also, kind of help to bring people down. It's like when, we're getting in the, I don't like it, I'm not good, blah, blah, blah. And we work to lift each other up and remind each other that it's not about the end result. It's about the process. It's about, it's just about doing. And all of that part is personal, and but we want you to keep doing it. So anyway, it's just a really positive, fun group of people. So come and join us. All right. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.